Hi everyone. Okay, so part two of chapter seven, which is determining the time period. So it's not always as straightforward as having a term of 3 months. Sometimes it's down to figuring out the exact number of days. And there's a couple of different ways we can do this. One is using table 7.2, which is on page 227 in your textbook. Or you can actually use the date function in the Texas Instrument calculator, which I will show you how to do shortly after this video. We'll have another video for you. So once we know the exact number of days of the term, then we can figure out what it is in years by dividing it by 365. And of course, the 365 is the standard number of days in a year unless there's a leap year, which would add an extra day. Okay, so here is a copy of the table from your textbook. So let's use this. So we have an example. Calculate the number of days between March 3rd and August 21st. So we're going to go on to the table. March, see across the top are all your months, March, and then down the side is the number of days, 3rd, so that's a 62. So that's March 3rd is the 62nd day of the year, okay? And then we're going to look at August and 21. So August 21st is the 233rd day of the year. So what we do now is figure out the term is 233 minus your 62. So that means the term of the loan is 171 days. Okay. So if we're going to use the Texas Instrument, okay, so you'll want to have your calculator in front of you and see if you can match up what you just calculated in the table compared to what you're able to calculate on your Texas Instruments. Okay, so you access the date by pressing the second key, which is up in the top left-hand corner, and then the date. Okay, you can see here, second, and then the date. And the reason you're pushing the second key is because when you push this one down here for the date, you don't want it to give you a 1. You want it to go to the second function that's attached to that key, which is the date. Okay. And then you can enter any two of the 3 variables shown below, and it will compute the third. So if we know the start day and we know the total number of days, then it'll give us the end date. And if we know the start date and the end date, then it'll give us the number of days. Okay, so let's look at an example. What interest rate will an investment of $900 earn $60 in simple interest from March 23rd to July 5th, 2019? Okay, so we're looking for the interest rate. So this is how we put it in. If we click second and then date, okay, then we want 03 period. So 03 represents the month, okay, January, February, March, 03 period. Then 23 is the date in March. So the 23rd, so if it was March 3rd, you'd have 03.03. But where it's the 23rd, you're going to have 23. And then the last 2 digits of the year, which is 19. And then you're going to click enter, and then you're going to click the down arrow. Then we have July 5th, so 07.0519, enter, and then the down key. And then we're going to do CPT, which is compute. Second, quit. Okay, so you're going to hit compute, Then you're going to click second, and then you're going to hit the quick, and then the term is 104 days. Give that a try. I will actually create a video that actually shows you the screen on the Texas Instruments to make it easier for you to follow. Okay, so what interest rate will an investment of $900 earn $60 in simple interest from March 23rd to July 5th, 2019? So we just did this using the Texas Instruments to figure out how many days it was, right? So we figured out that it was 104 days. So now we need to actually do the calculation. So we have the principal is 900. The interest earned is 60. The term is 140 days. And now we need to figure out what the interest rate is. So R equals I divided by principal and term. So we know it's going to earn $60. Sorry, I clicked a button. We know it's going to earn $60. So it's $60 divided by the principal, which is 900, and then in brackets 104 divided by 65. And calculate your denominator. Divide 60 by your denominator, and that gives you 0.234 or 23.4%. Okay, and you want to solve the following simple interest questions. Give those a try. Okay, I'm going to stop this here. The next one will be variable or floating interest rates. Okay, so variable or floating interest rates. So there's two different types of interest rates, okay? Fixed or variable, which is also called floating. So I know we're talking about simple interest in this chapter, but I think the easiest way for me to talk about fixed versus variable is to talk about a mortgage, okay? So any of you that have had exposure to mortgage renewals, whether it's a conversation with your family, your parents, your spouse, or whether it's from another class at NSCC or just talking to your banker in general. Fixed means that over a certain period, so if you lock in your mortgage for the next 5 years at a fixed rate, then every month your interest rate is going to be the same, and it could be maybe 5%. But if your interest rate is variable, it means that it's open to change. So depending on what's going on in the market, in the economy, your interest rate's going to change. And usually a variable rate is linked to what's called a prime rate. And your prime rate is what's charged by the banks. And maybe the bank is offering you prime plus 1%. Okay, so they're going to charge you whatever prime is plus an extra 1% for the risk that they're assuming because of you. So maybe you're not their most valued customer. You're relatively new. You are still working on increasing your credit rating. So they're going to offer you prime plus 1. Some people may receive prime minus a half. Okay. So, and depending on when the prime changes, the prime rate changes, your variable rate is going to change. So whatever they're going to charge you on a monthly basis for your mortgage could change from month to month, depending on what the prime rate is doing. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So again, the prime rate is adjusted by banks to reflect the changes in the financial markets, so the interest rate payable on the loan may vary over time. So when we're calculating something based on a variable rate, So let's have a look at this one. Lejos borrows $5,000 on April 7th at prime plus 1%. The prime rate was initially 3%. It increased to 3.25% on May 23rd and to 3.5% on July 3rd. What was the amount required to repay the loan on August 2nd? So because the rate changed 3 times, you need to figure out how many days are in each period at what rate. Okay, so again, it was prime plus 1. So the first one from April 7th to May 23rd, when it changed, is 41 days. 46 days at a rate of 4%. So the amount of interest on that was $25.21. So give that one a look, make sure you understand that. And then at the end, after calculating those 3 time periods and doing the interest calculation, then your total interest that's going to be payable is your $67.23. Okay, but this again is when you need to look back at the question. What was the amount required to repay the loan on August 2nd? So if you just said $67.23, you'd be incorrect because that $5,000 needs to be paid back as well. Okay, so there's a really good tip as to why you need to go back and read the question to make sure whatever you're answering does answer the actual question being asked. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video here now, and I'd like you to give the practice exercises a try. I will create an answer key for you so you can see step by step how we got the answers. And there will be a video as well of me going over the answers to the practice questions. Thanks, everyone.